at some more examples with synthetic division. So to start with, we're going to use synthetic division to divide the polynomial x cubed subtract 7x plus 6 by the expression x plus 1. So first we're going to rewrite the polynomial to include all the coefficients. So I'm going to take the x cubed, rewrite it as a 1x cubed. I'm missing an x squared term, so I'm going to put that in as a plus 0x squared. And then the 7x subtract 6. And then also I need to rewrite the divisor to be in the form x subtract c. So x plus 1 I can rewrite as x subtract negative 1. So the numbers in blue are the numbers I'm going to use as I set up the synthetic division. The x subtract negative 1, the negative 1 will go out in front. The 1x cubed, I'll have a 1 inside, and the 0, the negative 7, and the negative 6. Now to start the synthetic division, first thing I'm going to do is drop down the leading coefficient all the way to the bottom row. There's the 1 there. Then I'm going to take the 1 that we dropped down, multiply it by the negative 1, and then that result, 1 times negative 1 is negative 1, is going to go in the middle row. Then I'm going to add. So the second column, the 0 and the negative 1, will be added to get negative 1. Now taking that result, negative 1 times the negative 1 gives me my next entry, the positive 1, that goes in the middle row. And then I'll add the negative 7 and the 1 to get negative 6 in the bottom row. Then we'll take that negative 6 times the negative 1 to give me 6. That goes in the middle row. And then we'll add to get 0. Since this is our last column, this 0 is the remainder. And then the other coefficients in that bottom row, the 1, the negative 1, and negative 6, will be the coefficients for the dividend left over after we do our division. 1x squared plus negative 1x plus negative 6. Or we can think of it as x squared subtract x subtract 6. So what does this all mean? So x cubed subtract 7x subtract 6 divided by the x plus 1 will give us the result x squared subtract x subtract 6. Written in a more algebraic format, the polynomial divided by x plus 1 has this result. And then we also know from this that x cubed subtract 7x subtract 6 is equal to x plus 1 times the quadratic x squared subtract x subtract 6. So both the x plus 1 and x squared subtract x subtract 6 are factors. The reason that works is because we got a remainder of 0. Let's look at another example where the remainder is not 0. So we're going to use synthetic division to determine whether or not c equals 6 is a 0 of the polynomial x cubed plus 2x squared subtract 6. So again, I'm going to take my polynomial and I'm going to insert all my missing coefficients. So I've got a 1x cubed plus 2x squared plus 0x subtract 6. And then these coefficients come down for my synthetic division. And since I'm dividing by 6, I just need the 6 here. I already have my c values given as being 6. So I drop down the 1 and then take the 1 times 6 for 6. I'll add the 2 and the 6 to get 8. I'll take the 8 times the 6 to get 48. Adding the 0 and 48 gives me 48. And then 48 times 6, and yes, I had to think about this, give me 288. And then adding the negative 6 and 288 give me 282. Because the remainder is not 0, c equals 6 is not a 0 of the polynomial.